Okay, Tony, Far Dude, back again with you with my Big Lama Tech Tip number 7, I believe it is. And today I'm going to go over briefly about blades. I've had a lot of questions about blades, so I'm going to go over that today briefly. You know, first off, I'd like to mention that anything mechanical, especially aircraft or your cars, you're going to have vibration. Doesn't matter what. You can have the most perfectly balanced helicopter, whether it be coaxial, fixed pitch, collective pitch. It doesn't matter. You can spool it up, touch the skids or anywhere on the framework, canopy, whatever, and you're going to feel some vibration. That's normal. You're not going to be able to get away from that. You have rotating mass, gears, motors. So, but the idea is to get the most vibration out of your helicopters you can, obviously, so it'll fly better. And when it comes to flying with a video cam, like I do quite a bit, I take a few extra steps and measures. But anyway, so, you know, vibration is going to be normal. You're never going to get rid of it. There's always going to be some. First off, if you're just beginning to learn to fly, use your training gear, because you're going to break blades. I don't care who you are, you're going to break blades. I learned the hard way back in the 80s when I was breaking blades off my 52-inch main rotors, 52-inch rotor span, and those were wooden blades, and they were expensive. But anyway, use your training gear until you get the hang of it, because just tip overs and in minor crashes, your blades are going to break. And that leads me on to, you know, my next thing about blades. There's a ton of different blades out there, from stock to all kinds of aftermarket blades. There's stock, there's what we call the Walkera type blades. We just call them that because they're listed like that, and I don't really know who makes them, but and I'll explain why they work good for me. They're not near as thick and strong as the stock blades. And then you also have the Dura blades, and they're basically almost, if not the exact same as the Walkera type blades that I just showed you. I took my digital caliper. Everything mics out exactly the same. They weigh the same, exactly the same shape and form. I think that they're just color molded different with different markings, basically, is all the difference is. Okay. And then, of course, you have your stock blades that come with the eSky Big Lama. And they're the heaviest of all and the thicker of all. And I'll get into that as well. But there's other aftermarket blades like Airy Harden, Extreme. There's all kinds of them. But I'm going to tell you what, they will all break. I don't care what their advertisements say, they will all break. So keep that in mind. You know, your blades aren't supposed to come in contact when they're rotating with anything but air. So if you do, you're going to have a problem. I don't care what kind of blades you have on the helicopter. So what I do is, with my 500 back here, I use the stock blades. And the main reason for that is there's no cam on my 500. I don't run it as a camera ship, and it flies very smooth. I see very little to no vibrations. However, when I'm flying the cam ships, I use the Walkera type blades, which you can see I have on this helicopter here. They're color coded, and they're also marked underneath. They're flimsier. They give a little bit more, and they give a little bit of a tulip effect, but not enough to cause any blade strikes like people claim. I've never had a blade strike one with a fly bar or any problems with them. In fact, it makes the helicopter fly smoother and takes a lot of the vibration out, because the stock blades are heavier, they're thicker, and there's more rotating mass, and it's going to give you a little bit more vibration. Not noticeable to the eye in many cases, but when you're dealing with a cam and trying to reduce all the vibrations you can, the Walkera or as we call them, or the 3D Pro blades work. I basically ran the 3D Pro blades on one of my cam ships. This is cam ship 2, and it has the 3D Pro blades. They were given to me by a good friend. several sets. I've already used them. So I'm on my last set, really, the ones I showed you are spares. So I'll go back to these. And you can get these, you have to wait because they come from China. You have to wait, a couple of weeks. But you can buy a ton of these for about the third of the price you pay for stock blades. And the trick with these is they're thinner. They're thinner here, so when they go into the blade grip, there's a lot of play. One thing you don't want in your helicopter, when your blades are in the grip, you don't want up and down slop. You don't want up and down slop in your blades. You want it in that blade grip. Now this way, yes, but no up and down slop. So what we've done here, see if I can show it to you, if you can see it, there's a small nylon washer that's glued to the bottom of the blade, not the top, but the bottom, with CA, and that takes up the exact amount of slop needed to where they'll fit in the blade grips just perfectly. Now, what I do is you go down to your local hardware store and get a little bag of nylon washers, and they're a whopping 9 cents a piece. So, no big thing. And it takes you maybe 10-15 minutes to glue up 3 or 4 sets of blades and have them ready in case you need them. So, and the same thing with the Dura blades. You want to do the same thing. Because it's real hard to fish that washer in there and try to get it lined up with a hole when you're mounting the blades. So what I do, again, is just, it doesn't take long at all. And you just apply the washer, and when you do, with the CA, be quick and make sure your hole is completely clear, and that there's no obstruction of the hole so your bolt will go through. Now like I say, I use the stock ones on the 500 because I don't run the cam, so I always keep several sets of every type of blade available, because you never know when something's going to happen. One thing I want to mention about blades is it doesn't take a crash to ruin a blade, and I've mentioned in several of my videos. Over time, blades can come fatigued, even the stock blades. A couple tip overs where there's no visual signs of physical damage, or just twisting them in tip overs and bending them, they become fatigued. Many times people said, hey Tony, I got a vibration. I can't find it on my big Lama. I've checked the gears, the mesh, the motors, you name it, and I can't find it. And I tell them, change the blades out. And 8 out of 10 times, they come back and say, hey, the vibration's gone. Voila, your blades were fatigued. So keep that in mind. It'll actually surprise you. I've done this many times, and I'm telling you, if you fatigue your blades, they don't have to be physically fatigued or damaged. But so if you have a vibration and you've had a set of blades on there a long time, you've had a few minor tip overs or whatever, then change the blades out. And I go back, if you're new and you're just learning to fly, keep the training gear on there until you quit tipping over and falling over on landings or takeoffs and crashing. Keep your training gear on there. There's nothing wrong with that. And then, then once you get a little bit more proficient, you can take them off. People ask me, how tight should the blades be? Well, a lot of people like them where if you tip the helicopter over like this, they just fall. I don't do that, but I do keep them loose enough. That when the helicopter spins up, that the blades will straighten out on their own without the helicopter rocking all over the place and forcing the blades out. They'll spin up. So just loosen up to where the blades will, if they're like this, they'll spin out straight on spool up. I don't like them so loose that when you tip the helicopter over, the blades just fall down towards you. Personally, that's a personal preference. I don't like them that loose. But so that's really as tight as they need to be. You don't want to tighten them down super tight, because then you run into a problem with tip overs, and you are going to definitely break something. But you want them a little bit loose so they will swing. People talk about balancing blades. You know, you can balance these, and if you Google on the internet, there's several different methods of doing it. But you know, until you get into fixed pitch and especially the collective pitch helicopters, I don't bother with balancing the blades on the coaxials. It's just too much work, too much trouble. If you've got blades that are that much out of balance, you probably got a bad set of blades and a bad mold. I did get I can't remember if it was the Durablades or the Walkeras, but I did get a bad batch. No, in fact, I take that back. It was stock blades. I got a bad batch of stock blades, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. I put on new blades. Well, I weighed them and mic'd them out, and they were different. So, you know, quality control, I guess. But sometimes, you know, things happen. And I found out I had a bad set of blades. I tossed them in the trash and grabbed another set and put them on, and everything was fine. So, you know, again, these are the three types of blades I use: the stock, the 3D Pro Durablades are nice, but they're a little bit more expensive, and I don't care to spend that kind of money when I can get, you know, for a white and black blade, when I can get the same very exact blade for just a fraction of the cost. So, you know, that's pretty much it on blades. The area hardens, the extremes, and all those. There's a lot of hype behind those, just like any other aftermarket part. Personally, you know, you're going to break blades flying these helicopters, and personally, I don't like spending a lot of money, especially money I don't have, just replacing blade after blade with expensive blades, because you're going to break them. Those expensive blades, well, it's going to fly just as well, if not better, with these than it will those expensive aftermarket blades. You know, now on the brushless big llamas, you want to fly a heavy blade like the stock blade, because the lighter blades like these, like the Walkera type or the Durablades here, with all that power and stuff behind a brushless coaxial like the big Lama, you don't want those light blades, because that power will tear those blades up in no time. So, you know, that's pretty much it on blades. I just wanted to cover it real quick with you and kind of give you my rundown on them, and other people have their own ideas, but this is what's worked out well for me. And next tech tip coming up, number 8, will be on installing the shafts on the big Lama and some tips there. So, again, that's it for this tech tip, and thanks again for watching.